I just got out of the movie Love Again and I'm still listening to the jam. This is a movie you might want to share with someone you love and someone you might be interested in getting to know better. It's a rom-com, one of my favorites. Welcome back to Thebettermanbysak. Of course, I do have a rule, and that rule is no movies with guns in the title page because that's just not fun for me. We don't always want to watch your action-packed movies. We want to watch love rom-coms. And if you don't have anyone in your life where you're going to be able to watch a rom-com with, you should watch it with yourself, especially if you're a man, because this will give you so many tips and tricks on how to become more romantic. And when you're going to have the opportunity to be romantic with a partner, you're going to know exactly what to do. I would like to first shout out Priyanka Chopra Jonas. She was absolutely fabulous. She's beautiful, talented, and she was almost 40 when she was filming this movie, let alone had a baby on the way via surrogate. She probably could have declined taking this role, but I'm glad she didn't because she did a fabulous job, and her husband did make an appearance in the movie and he was hilarious. That was one of my favorite scenes, actually. I'm gonna be going over my opinion of the movie, being a fan and avid rom-com watcher. And then after, I'm gonna get into some more specifics about the movie, and I'll let you know when I'm gonna go into more details if you want to tune back in after you watch the movie. I'm gonna go ahead and give this movie a B-. I say B- because it didn't really get close to my top #1 rom-com that I feel is A+. And that #1 A+ is Mr. Wright. I'm gonna list homework for the men that might be out of touch with romance in their life. That's the feminine energy. Watching these rom-coms will serve you. I hope this video serves you too, because I'm gonna try and break it down for you from a woman's perspective that is in touch with her feminine energy, and also give tips. If you haven't already seen this movie and you're really interested in watching it, I do recommend you going to the theater. If you're interested in going on a date with someone that you don't know too well, I would say this is a good movie to go to. You'll be laughing, possibly singing, because there's a lot of music in this movie. And I was singing my way out of that theater, and I've been playing the music since. And that's the music of Celine Dion. I'm pretty sure you weren't expecting me to say that. I'm gonna go into the movie at this point. If you are interested in seeing it, I would say come back later after you watch it so I don't spoil it for you. This movie showed men in a very vulnerable state, something we don't always get to see. The main character was heartbroken over his ex-fiancée that had ditched him 1 week prior to the wedding. He was so heartbroken, he pretty much gave up on love, and that's something we don't see every day. He kept his routine to watching basketball, drinking a beer, and going to work and being miserable. Not always in line with what we see, and it was a very interesting view. I'm gonna share a myth buster, and a myth buster is that women do appreciate when men are vulnerable and open and honest with their feelings. At this point, he wasn't necessarily relying on anyone getting professional help, but we were all a witness to seeing him heartbroken, and he was stuck in hopelessness that he wasn't gonna find another love. He had pretty much given up at that point. Same goes for the main character, Myrna Ray. She lost her boyfriend fatally by a drunk driver who hit him walking. This was set in New York City. The worst part about this is that she witnessed his accident, and it doesn't seem like she got professional help. And I only say that because she moved out of the city, she lived with her parents for 2 years, and she continued to be grief-stricken without any hope of having love again. It brings me to the point, why are we suffering alone? And then if we're suffering and then potentially opening ourselves up to the universe. In the movie, they said, be open to the universe. They said that like 3 or 4 times. I think they could have said it only twice at most. Note to the writer. But if you're gonna be going through grief and still be open for love, I think that's beautiful. But I think it'd be more beautiful if you were able to get help resolve the grief in your life where you can move on and be a whole person once you meet the other half. Once they actually finally got together, they were two halves of one whole. And that just screams codependency. Myrna was very lonely as an artist. She was an illustrator for children's books, and she would draw the most depressing caterpillars. And her coworkers had to remind her that we're drawing these characters for kids. It's not supposed to be so depressing. At that point, they could have possibly recommended that she might get more support. Meanwhile, her sister's pushing her to be on dating apps that she didn't want to be on. The main reason for my exaggerated feedback is for the men to fully grasp what I'm saying, because I understand we could possibly speak two different languages. You may not hear me. I understand it might not resonate with everyone, and that's okay too. I will backtrack really quickly. The last thing the boyfriend gave Myrna was a pack of Skittles. Are we in middle school? Because that moment felt really juvenile. The way Myrna received the Skittles, like, I get it, she really must love Skittles, but I thought it was a very weird response to getting Skittles. It was like, oh my gosh, no, I'm not gonna be like that if you bring me candy, bro. A reaction like that, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. That would be cash, jewelry, like a gorgeous fine dining meal if I was starving, or my favorite food if I was starving, or possibly my dogs or puppies. I felt like that was very odd. And that's also the last gift she's always gonna remember from him before he was killed, which is also very sad because they did end up finding a wedding ring. It was like an opal shaped wedding ring in a box that he never gave her. Men, why are you not giving the rings? If you have the ring in your closet, in your shoebox, in your safe, where else do you guys keep these rings? Because bring them out. Like, does she really have to find the ring after you die? If I'm talking to you, I hope you take this as a personal message from me to you. Oddly enough, she started to wear the ring as if she was married. I get the sentimental value of the ring. I mean, I'm wearing some now, but I'm definitely not gonna be wearing it on my wedding finger. And what was also quite disturbing was she actually showed up on a date wearing the wedding ring on her ring finger without knowing. She was stuck. She needed therapy. I think it's great that she met someone that might be a match. From what I gathered, the only thing they had in common was their love of tennis shoes and basketball. But I'm not gonna be connecting with a guy over shoes or sports, because that's not me. I understand they just met. It's a surface level thing they might have in common. Most of us desire soul level connections, and I know that's hard to achieve in a short rom-com movie, but that was missed. It was partly missed because John wasn't open and was deceitful when he knew Myrna was texting him as if it was her boyfriend and he was receiving the text. Now, let me back up. I know that was a lot. John's company gave him a new work phone and they said, you need to have this phone and we're also monitoring all the texts. Meanwhile, Myrna was texting this number, which was her old boyfriend's phone number who had passed away, as a coping mechanism so she can feel like she's still in communication with him. I will be 100% honest. I text myself. I text myself everything I want to hear to myself, and I have no shame. I texted myself something the other day that I just absolutely loved, and it'll probably come true soon. I put it in writing and I manifest everything I want, and just thinking about it makes me excited. And that's probably how she felt when she was texting this old number that was now John. John was able to find the location of where Myrna was because she went ahead and put everything in the text what she was doing. He set it up as if they randomly met. Meanwhile, he was only there because he got the text. And once she found out that was why he was there, she felt like she was lied to, and she was. He was being deceitful. I'm gonna go ahead and do another myth buster. Men don't use logic when it comes to romance. We want you to use emotion. What would be the more romantic thing to say? And unfortunately, he couldn't respond back because his work was monitoring the text. And he actually got called in to his boss's office because of the text, because the texts were so dark and sad and gloomy. John recovered by saying these were text messages from Celine, letting him know the lyrics of her next song. John was commissioned to listen to Celine's music and ultimately, I think, write an article. It was very unclear, but he was practically studying Celine's music. And I thought it was hilarious because he had the headphones on. Everywhere he would go, he would just really try and get into the music and understand what she was trying to say. So it was like this, started singing it. I feel like John was on his way to recovering, but I'd have to say Myrna brought him down. She was still stuck in the past. There were some funny parts in the movie where Celine and John were together and they were talking about the text messages and how he was starting to like this girl. It was very interesting because I felt like Celine was just playing herself. I think at this point she's earned the right because she's like a mega superstar and she was probably gonna play the part the way she wanted to. And I think that's what she did and I give her credit for that. It was really cute because the soundtrack to the movie was Celine's music. At the end of the movie, they played the song, "It's All Coming Back to Me Now." And I think that's the ultimate message. If you've lost love, you can find it. That feeling, if you lost that feeling in your heart, if you catch sign of something that's gonna re-spark love in your life, they want you to keep going towards that. The next time something might inspire you to love or to love bigger, I want you to pull on it. I want you to pull on it as if you have a thread. How many people have had a thread on their shirt and you think you're just pulling it and it's gonna stop coming out? But no, it keeps going. I want you to do that for love. So if you can find a moment in time when you're in love and continue to pull from it, and it's just never ending love. You can continue to pull the string, the heartstrings, until your whole body is full of love. You're one full cup of love. And that's what I hoped would have happened in this movie because they both weren't whole. And I hope you're whole before you jump into the next relationship, because if you already start with a deficit, it's gonna be catastrophic when you realize I might have more work to do on myself. And the good news is you still can. Channels like mine and others are here to support you. And it's all coming back to me now. Myrna told John 3 things that he needed to do to solidify the fact that they were a couple. 1, men don't lie. 2, accept me as I am. I agree with that. But she also needed therapy, so we're gonna accept her, but we would like to invite her to go to therapy. And 3, she said that he needed to take cooking classes, and Celine said do the dishes. That point right there drives home for me because it's highly attractive if a man cooks and does the dishes because it's rare, and when he does it, he's going to be rewarded. So I see win-win all over the place. And of course, he agreed to all of it. If there are unresolved issues in your personal life for you, I want you to get help on those. I don't want people creating relationships out of trauma bonds. They should be creating relationships because it's an actual match. And if you've had trauma in your life, I hope you get support for it because it's not gonna be going away until you shed light on it. And I'm here talking light on your traumas. If you have it, it doesn't matter if it was when you were 2 or 20. If it hasn't been processed, you still have trauma. You're never too old to heal from your trauma. I healed from mine when I was 36 and I'm still healing. I'm not saying everyone needs to be a fully recovered person at all times. That's far from the case. But if you haven't even scratched the surface of your healing, your personal healing, without being attached to like a relationship, a codependency you might have, you're living in bondage. And that's exactly what the candle reading said. It was of 2 handcuffs, and I accidentally broke it and it turned into a pretzel. I mean, we all like to eat pretzels, but do you really want your emotions all tied up like that? No, let's straighten them out. It's all from love. You're not gonna know ultimately what true happiness is, the purest, finest, cleanest, most delicious happiness is, until you clear out the past traumas or issues that are not allowing you to live your life. You might be discovering new ones every single day, and when you discover them, that's good news, because identifying what those traumas or uncovered traumas might be is one step closer to your healing, and I want to be part of your journey. We do have men's t-shirts now. They're $50 each. A portion of the proceeds is going to be going to a local no-kill animal shelter, and it's an investment in yourself. My energy is expensive, and I'm hoping to share some of that energy with you. The shirts look great. When you're walking around with a shirt that says "The Better Man," someone's gonna take notice. And I hope it's yourself first, because I want you to constantly improve who you are. Just purchasing this shirt will get you closer to being the better man. I'm gonna be including a personalized handwritten message, and it's also including shipping in the US, so that's gonna be covered. And this is for homework. I would like the men to watch the movie Mr. Wright to tap into more of their romantic side, and write a love letter. It can be to yourself, it could be a text to yourself, it could be a text to your grandma, it could be a text to your girlfriend, your wife, your aunt, someone that might need one. I'm hoping I get a text. If you have my number, maybe you'll get one. And I hope this poem really comes from your heart. It could be very simple. It could be 3 words. It could even be "I love you." I want you to move with your heart. I want you to think with your heart. I want you to be in your heart space, because that's going to promote a more loving, harmonious world for yourself. And it's all coming back to me now. I love you. Later.